Just tagging a few people. I'm sure in the background you can hear the 3D printer. I am test printing some things, so it's just hanging out there in the back. So there you go. Hi, hello. Say hello when you pop on so I can see who's here. So since today is the first day of summer and the summer solstice and all that fun stuff. Hi, Cheryl. How are you? I have decided that I'm going to color a very summery image. I mean, why not, right? So the image I chose to color is You're Magical. And I threw in the little Ya Jelly too, because he's just so darn cute. And I stamped him together like she's poking a little jellyfish. So that's what we're doing. Are you ready? So here we go. I don't even know what I want to color. I have made no plans at all whatsoever. So we're totally just winging this, and that's how it's going to be. Hi, Marianne. How are you? So yeah, we're just going to wing this. I feel like making a little bit darker skin tone than the regular, like, Caucasian skin tone that I usually do. So we're going to start this off a little bit darker. I'm going to go with E27, E25. Those are fairly dark browns, so I'm going to bring it into more of like a suntan scenario. So E15, E13, and E11. Make her green, her tail, or her... Hey, hi Jen, how are you? And then I'm gonna pull out my E00 just so that I can prime the paper. Stopping in real quick, does that mean you're not staying? I don't know what Sandy has going on, but she said she had something come up, and so she is not here tonight. And that's why I'm here tonight. So I assume she will be back tomorrow. Can you guys hear the 3D printer in the back? Is it too annoying? Oh, green skin tone. I'm doing all right these days. My sister and niece came to visit over the weekend, so they were here. So I kind of had my head down, hanging out with them, and they just went home. So there's that. This is gonna look really weird because I'm gonna do it into, it is bedtime for you. I'm gonna do it in 2 sections. Okay. It's usually bedtime for me. I did not sleep at all last night. I slept for a couple of hours this morning from like 6 to 8. But I did not sleep last night. I think the file that I'm 3D printing is completely corrupt. I think it's not going to work out. I did enjoy having them here. This is my sister that lives in California and my niece that lives in California, and I don't get to see them very often. So it was very nice to have them here for a little visit. And we were able to have a barbecue for Father's Day. So that was cool. So 3 of us 4 sisters were together. I have 2 sisters that live in California. My oldest 2 sisters live in California still. I know, I hate those nights too. It's just, it's awful. I just had such a hard time. In all honesty, I've been battling anxiety really bad the last couple of weeks. So it's been a challenge for me to sleep properly, and I'm just printing a post-it note holder, and honestly, it's not really going so well. I made sure that my base was leveled and all of that good stuff, but I think that the file itself is corrupt because it's not printing smooth, and yeah. Hi, Nona. I'm so sad I don't get to go with you to breakfast tomorrow. Family is really important, especially when you don't get to see them very often, Cheryl. It's really important. I learned a couple of things that I didn't previously know, both about my sister and my mom. And we talked about some things. So, okay, so you guys know that I'm a true crime junkie, right? Like, this is not news to anybody. I hope it's not news to anybody. Has anybody seen or heard of the Steven Stainer? Your paper printer. Has anybody heard of this whole Steven Stainer thing? Marianne, I'm sure you have, because it's a California case. And then the guy kidnapped a second kid, Timmy White. Well, my sister was with Timmy when he got kidnapped. And so the whole story has always fascinated my other sisters and I. I wasn't even born yet, so it wasn't even, you know, a thing for me. I didn't learn about it till much, much later in life. I am not talking about coloring at all. Yes, it's a California crime. So, my sister was with Timmy when he was kidnapped, and so basically the guy pulled up in the van, and he wanted a boy, not a girl. So he pushed my sister and grabbed Timmy. And so we talked a lot about the case and, you know, different things that happened during that time and how Steven helped Timmy to get out, to escape. And, you know, just stuff like that, and how much it still affects my sister. And how much it really did affect her life. And guilt and all different kinds of stuff. Guilt on my mother's part, I guess. Yes. Timmy was kidnapped by Parnell. And so, like, when Timmy came back, they sent him back to the same school, and they wanted everything to be like as normal as possible. So what would happen was, my mom would stand at the corner, and watch them walk home from school. They were kindergartners, and the school was like right there. Like my mom lived a quarter of a block from the school. So literally they got out of school, they walked around the corner, and then my mom could see them. And I didn't know my mom was having a yard sale that day. Why somebody has a yard sale in the middle of the week, I don't know, but whatever. My mom was having a yard sale that day, or getting ready for a yard sale or something. And so she was preoccupied. And so she wasn't like right there. She was a couple seconds late, and not like a long time, but my sister came running around the corner and said they took him, you know, yada, 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 the whole 9 yards. And so when he got found, or got released, or whatever, broke free, and they told my mom and Timmy's mom and everything that he needs to go back to as normal as possible. And your mom and dad are so look to still have her. Yes. And so Timmy, when my mom picked them up from school, or, you know, stood at the corner and watched them, he said, "Mickey, why weren't you there that day when the man grabbed me? Why weren't you watching for us?" And so, you know, of course that broke my mom's heart. So yeah, just all kinds of issues because of that. And you don't really realize the long-standing effects that, I mean, this was 40 years ago. And so my sister, I guess when the police would come to try to interview her, I mean, she was 6 years old, you know, and Timmy was her best friend. And when the police would come and interview her, she would hide in the bathroom and not want to come out and talk. Obviously, she was afraid. She was afraid that she had done something wrong. She was afraid, you know, that all the police were coming to talk to her, and, you know, all the things. I mean, they were little kids, very little kids. And so she's always had an issue like with travel and that sort of thing, and anxiety and stress issues and all of that. And my mom tried to protect her, obviously, the very best that she could from that stuff. But there's only, you know, so much you can do. They need the information. Both my mom and my sister got hypnotized, which I never knew, to try to remember facts and stuff from the case. And just all kinds of crazy stuff. So it was a very interesting conversation. Yeah, right. Exactly. So the next oldest sister than I, we're both we're super into true crime and stuff. So we, of course, were like fascinated by the whole conversation and them talking about Parnell and all that stuff. Right. And Christy never got her friend back. I mean, Timmy never, they were never friends again. And she lost contact with him. And then, of course, he died very young. I think he was like 32 or so when he passed away. So it's kind of one of those really hard to deal with things. Oh yes, it was a very large case. Very, 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 very. Yeah, just fascinating. And me, you know, having a law enforcement background, I was, you know, uber fascinated in the outcome and the after effects, because I know the case in and out. A lot of us from California know the case in and out because it's one of the more famous cases from California. So I know lots and lots. And I mean, of course, I wasn't alive then, so there's people around, obviously, that know the case way better than I do. But since my sister was involved, I definitely have spent time, learning the case. So there is a movie, and it's called I Know My First Name is Steven. And they just came out with a new documentary about it, which is what sparked the conversation. And the new documentary, they actually talked to Timmy's mom and sister, I believe. Maybe it's his cousin. And they hadn't previously done that. And so it was kind of fascinating to see them and hear them talk for the first time. Now, I know this looks super weird, like she has big dark circles around her eyes, but I promise it'll work out. So, yeah, I guess every family has some sort of story, some sort of crazy story. That's our family's crazy story. I have one of the girls I went to high school with was abducted and murdered. Well, I went to junior high with her. She didn't make it to high school. I was a freshman and she was in 8th grade. But my school was only 99 students, so, like, we knew each other. And so, if you Google Raina Bo Shirley, she was abducted and then assaulted and murdered in the very tiny town that I grew up in. And, that changed the world for a lot of us kids. I am very light-handed with my markers. It's an acquired skill. It's definitely familiarity with your medium. And holding your marker exactly vertical. And that way you can touch just the very tip of that paintbrush to your paper. So if you guys want to know that story, I can tell you that story as well, since I guess we're talking true crime tonight. I didn't intend for it to be true crime night. Yes. The only difference between me and you is I have spent thousands of hours with markers in my hand. And that definitely makes a difference. I mean, I hate to bore you with downers of stories, so we can definitely talk about coloring, because that's what we're here for. But, I mean, that kind of stuff is also fascinating for me. We here in our town and around us, there's guys trying to pick up kids all the time. You can't trust anyone these days. So that's, yeah, it's not good. This was a very different situation. The girl, Raina, that I went to school with, had willingly got in the car. They were going to buy marijuana from the guy. And it was a kid that was in their class. Raina was with another girl named Soraya. And it was, like I said, a kid that was in their class and his uncle. And so they were going to buy some marijuana from him and have themselves a little party. And he told them that he wanted to try coloring along with Murder, Death, Kill. That's right. Julie knows I call all of the shows Murder, Death, Kill. when I watch true crime stories or listen to true crime podcasts. I call it murder, death, kill. So anyways, they went with him, and they didn't come back. And so nobody could find Raina and Soraya. It was a Friday, so they should have been home, shortly after school. What happened is they decided that I guess the uncle was very insistent. His name was Arnaldo. He was very insistent that they get in the car and that they try the product before they buy it. He was an illegal immigrant, didn't speak a whole lot of English, but they had their classmate there with them, so they felt safe because it was his uncle. So they went what was called over the hill. Hi, Joy. We're talking about murder, death, kill. We're talking about a girl I went to school with. So they got in his car with him ultimately, and they went over the hill, which was over by the river, and they essentially tried the product. He had laced it with something way more powerful, and it knocked them both out, at which time the two girls were sexually assaulted. Raina was left face down in the water to drown. Soraya was able to crawl out of the water. So, what color would you guys like the tail? Hi, Michelle. Michelle's also into murder, death, kill. Michelle, we're talking about true crime. Yes, exactly. The boy and his uncle came back and left the girls there. They didn't know that Soraya had crawled out of the water. And oranges and yellow. Ooh, we could do orange and yellow. That's something different. I'm okay with that. Let's try that. So he disappeared, obviously, because he knew something had happened. And Soraya, 3 days later, showed up from over the hill at about 2 o'clock in the morning, and she was completely nude and walking. Teals would be great for the jelly, you are correct. And she was walking down the middle of the street nude and very disoriented, exceedingly disoriented. So I'm going to use a 7 color blend, so I have 2 other colors here. And I'm going to use the dappling effect, or stippling, or whatever you like to call it. So I'm going to start with my darkest color, and then we're going to move into the lights. So a motorist found her, a guy that was driving home from the bar, found her. She was walking in the middle of Main Street. And this town, you guys, this town is really tiny. I mean, we're talking less than 3,000 people. And no stoplights, like nothing. And so he had just left the bar, and he sees this teenage girl, she was 13, walking down the main street there. And she was very disoriented and totally nude, so he pulled off his jacket, gave her his jacket, tried to get her in his truck. Of course, she was very spooked and would not. He called 911, and it took a while because we live very rural in a very little farm town. It took a while to get the officers out there, or deputies. And so once they did, it took them a long time to get any information from her. Meanwhile, Raina is still missing. We have no idea what happened to her. And all of us kids that had gone to school with us had gone to school with her, I mean, all of us were doing, you know, like grid searches in the woods and hanging up posters and going door to door and searching cow pastures and sheep pastures. And I mean, you don't know scared until you're searching for your friend's body. So yeah, that sticks with you. Part of why I wanted to go into law enforcement. Long story short, a few days later, a dive team found her. Her body had washed up by one of the check dams, severely battered and very highly drugged. And so she had been missing, gosh, I want to say it was about 2 weeks-ish. Very scary scenario. So we were on the news quite a bit when I was young because of that. All of us kids were, and they interviewed us and stuff, which was also scary. And then we were on very, very sad. We played volleyball with her, and she was my campaign manager when I ran for student council. We had done reports together. I still have a report that we did on the Holocaust together. We were on the same volleyball team. You know, just all the things when you're a kid. It was just scary. We were on America's Most Wanted because, you know, of the whole scenario. They filmed the whole town. Good night, Jen. They filmed the whole town on America's Most Wanted. It was really weird. And then Mark Class came. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Polly Class, but that was another California kidnapping. And so Mark Class came because he had started with, yes, Joy, I can. The Center for the Class Foundation for Missing and Exploited Children. And a really weird twist to this story is my parents invited him over for dinner because he was working nonstop at the Raina Shirley Center, the headquarters that we had set up. And he asked my parents if he could adopt me. My parents were like, no. So consequently, that guy creeps me out. I know he's done a lot of good, but he kind of creeps me out. I don't know if he was joking, but he seemed really serious. My parents were like, maybe you should go. So, yeah, that was kind of odd. But anyways. Oh, she is kind of a goldfish, huh, Michelle? The stippling technique takes a while to build up. But it's so worth the time that it takes. I'm not worried about light source in this one either because she's in the water and water refracts light and it goes in all different directions and bounces off of everywhere. So that's my story and I'm sticking to it. You're off to do some work, Marianne? Yeah, right, Michelle. Maybe that was his excuse. What are you doing working this late, babe? I need to call you. I have not been avoiding you, I promise. And all the things that you mentioned I need to call you about, I need to talk to you about. I'm happy to talk to you about them. Hi, Linda Lou. I just honestly have not had time and have been fighting anxiety really bad. Really bad. I've had a really bad bout this time. So, if you guys have noticed me not being present, one, because my sister was here, and two, because I am having a hard time with my anxiety right now. It comes and goes. I'll be better soon. But Marianne knows me well, very well, and she knows. Dark green complexion. I should have done a green complexion. I didn't think about it. It was too late when Marianne had said it. I was already on this. Path. So yeah, those are my true crime stories. I mean, I have more of them because I spent lots of time in law enforcement. And I could bore you with all of my true crime stuff. I was talking to Pam today, and we were talking about on the TV. Oh, dark skin tone. I thought you said green. Yeah, you did say green. I was talking to Pam today, and we were talking about on TV how they always start the true crime shows in like, it was a quaint little town where no crime ever happens, and everybody knew everybody, and it was such a nice place to live. You know, yada, yada, yada. Ooh, Michelle, you do? Any of them garner national attention, or are they small town stories like you see on the true crime shows? So yeah, that's definitely something that sticks with me and something that I will always carry with me. Very difficult times, very odd times. Oh, from Guadalajara. I bet that's interesting. You'll have to tell me those stories. How long did you stay in Guadalajara? When did you move? Like, how old were you? Oh, mafia. That's scary stuff. "14 years off and on." Do you guys like the true crime and and coloring that we're doing tonight? I hate to bore some of you. Cheryl, you got quiet. So we're just keeping building up these spots, keeping them going out further, and then filling in what we already did. It's very repetitive. But that's almost soothing to me. Right now it is anyways. So please more. It's all good. Linda's a true crime junkie too. Yes, Linda, you'll have to watch the replay and hear about the cases I was just talking about. Yeah, you know about the one that my sister was with Timmy White when he got kidnapped by Parnell. Was it Kenneth Parnell? Keith Parnell? I think it was Kenneth. Anyways, the other one was about a girl that went to school with me. A couple of girls that went to school with me, actually. You're watching me very closely. it does add a lot of texture to her scales. It's definitely, I do dragons this way. I do dinosaurs this way. I do lots and lots of things using this same technique. So I must really enjoy it, or I'm just a glutton for punishment. But it definitely adds texture. It feels like you can reach out and touch her scales. I color lots of fish this way. Definitely lots of things. Don't forget we have the 1,000-member contest going on right now. And all you have to do is use any of your Sweet Sentiment products and enter it in the album. So definitely do that, and you have all week to get that done. I'm going to go below the waterline just a little bit here. Granted, she's going to all be underwater, but my internet keeps failing. Bummer. Did anybody do anything special for the summer solstice? This is also a really good technique if you do not have steady hands. If you're somebody who's shaky for any given number of reasons, this is a great technique. Yes, you're getting a new AC. Hooray, Michelle. You have some news, Cheryl? What's your news? Are you guys all looking forward to the Bestie virtual retreat? I know Julie and Michelle and Cheryl are all going to attend. Linda's gonna attend. So excited. I mean, it's not a retreat without Linda, because you have to be like, Linda's watching. Yep, with your bestie Marlene, huh? That's right. Did you, now Julie, the picture of us in Washington is the picture that I used for my cover photo. My daughter did a reveal yesterday, and we're going to have a new granddaughter. My daughter is a high risk, she's 37, sure would be good prayers, be nice. So this makes 2 granddaughters and 1 grandson. Oh my gosh, congratulations, Cheryl. Absolutely. Of course we will say prayers for her. That's super duper exciting. New grandbabies. I don't know if I will ever get a grandbaby from my child. He's just not that kind of kid. I had him too late in life. Oh my gosh, I bet you're really excited for them. Did they tell you a name? Or did they just reveal the gender? I know some people are really hush-lipped about names. Oh, they're gonna wait till she comes to give her a name. They gotta see what she looks like first. Does anybody know what they would be named had they been the opposite gender that they are? Nona, you're being awfully quiet. Did you fall asleep? Yeah, 4 wonderful grandkids. Oh, thanks, Cheryl. Julie, those pictures were super cute of that grandbaby. She looks like she's gonna get into mischief. So you guys see, this does take a while to build up, but it's definitely worth it. Already is. I was gonna be a boy and I was gonna be Kenny, but I ended up being a girl dressed in blue. My parents have 3 older daughters, so they really wanted a boy. And my dad's middle name is Dean, so I would have been James Dean. Yeah, so glad I was a girl. And then they decided on Jammie because it's a very gender neutral name. So it could go for either boy or girl. But the way they spelled it, I think is very effeminate. Yeah, it's true, Julie. I think it's a very effeminate spelling, the way they spelled Jammie with the 2 M's. So I'm glad that things happened the way they did, I guess. Although I feel like it'd be easier to be a dude, just saying. Thanks, Julie. We need to choose a hair color, too. And a color for her little tank top there. Or bikini top, I guess, is what it is. Mermaids are my jam. I don't know why, but mermaids are my jam. I'm not like particularly drawn to mermaids. I don't like love mermaids or anything, but like coloring mermaids, that's my jam. Okay. Sandy would say purple. Red hair with all of this orange and yellow? I have 5 brothers, and I was the only girl for many years, and I got a stepsister 13 years between us. We're very close. She lives about 4 hours away, so we don't see each other. But we do, oh, that's good. I'm glad you FaceTime a lot. I'm so gonna get this down. You like this? Okay, so the trick with this is this color right here that I'm using is almost the last color. I have 1 more color after this. So I am using a 7 color blend. So the trick with this is I'm going to go ahead and fill everything in. So I'm going to kind of use the side of my marker and make sure that everything's filled in. All the way down her tail. And I don't mind about saturating the paper some because I want all of these spots to kind of smear together. And don't forget, when I put this on YouTube, I will totally add the color blend in the comments, or in the description, so you will know all the colors that I used. Okay, so that's completely filled in. Thanks, Linda Lou. I like merfolk. I just don't happen to be, you know, like, I'm not one of those people that's obsessed. So this color, the lightest color, this is Y000. You can also use your colorless blender for this. I'm going to come in the center here and kind of wash out some of this to make this a highlight. So this color, you know how Sandy always says it kind of pushes the other colors away like the colorless blender does, and it kind of washes them out. That's what this color does. So once this dries, you'll see that highlight there. Awesome. There we go. There's her tail. It's so cool. Okay, so now this. Should we just make this match her tail? Does that make the most sense? I'm kind of thinking it makes the most sense. She's a matchy-matchy kind of mermaid. I would be, if I was a mermaid. I would be a matchy-matchy kind of mermaid. Yeah, okay. I'm glad you all agree with me. Look at me all staying up late with you guys. Are you guys so proud of me? I'm meeting Mama Sherry in the morning for breakfast. So I can't stay up too late. We're going to a new place here. So I'm really excited. She's trying to help me out of my slump. I know, right, Michelle? Are you so proud of me? You saw me stay up late at my birthday retreat, though. When I'm with Sandy, I stay up really late, too. She makes me stay up late. You also, yes, Nona, you do. Nona's going to put her foot down and be like, you need to rest. I was supposed to be going to breakfast with Nona tomorrow, but I know, right? Totally saw me as a night out. Actually, Barry keeps on saying that I'm on Sandy time because I keep staying up later and later. So there's that. Okay. So now her little bralette matches. Okay, so hair. What color are we doing the hair? Banana. What color do y'all want the hair? She looks very creepy right now with her eyes not done and her lips not done. So I'm going to do her lips while you guys are debating on hair color. Well, hi, Michelle. Barry's a very early riser, like very early. Dark red hair. You and your red hair with this orange. I don't know if I could do that. I was thinking of doing green. But then if I do a background, the green might. Yes. Nona was exposed to COVID, so she's staying home and not going to breakfast. Nona and her sister Aunt Candy. So I don't get to go to breakfast with them, but I appreciate them not exposing me. So as much as I would like to go to breakfast with them, I'm not going to. Pink hair? What do you get? We gotta do like a cool color. We gotta do like purple. If you don't like her red hair, just send her to you. Oh, that's funny. I see how you are, Michelle. Your post the other day about has anybody heard you say teacher in class made me literally crack up. Like, literally crack up. Michelle says purple. Well, the water is usually like teals and blues and, you know, I mean, that's what color water is. I probably will not be doing the background tonight, just FYI. So there's her lips. She's got on some pretty red lipstick. That's for you, Michelle. She's got on her pretty red lipstick. Didn't we want the jelly teal? He's gonna kind of mix in with the water. I guess we're going purple. Michelle Milligan for the win. It'll be like purpley pink, okay? How about that? I want one darker than 17. Do I? $17, $15, $12. Sigh. Sigh. Oh, you make me smile. Let's do BV00 on top of that. Okay. So I like to start my purple hair with the BV29, and this is where, I know, right? I heard her roll her eyes all the way from Southern Texas, all the way up here. This is where Cheryl's gonna get mad at me for my light hand. But I'm gonna do brush strokes to make all of these look like curls. I want lots of texture in this hair. Because look at it. Doesn't it look like it has lots of texture? I love how we never go for normal hair colors. We're never like, ooh, brunette or blonde. It's always like a super duper loud sigh. Like I heard the wind. We're always like, let's go purple or teal or green. I can still make it green. This is not black ink, no. This is BV29, so it's like a smoky purpley gray. Or you mean for stamping? I used desert sand so that this looks like no lines. Yeah, this is desert sand. 90% of what I color is no lines, except for when I'm coloring packaging for our stamp sets, because then you need the lines on the packaging. but most of what I color myself for cards and such, I do no lines. Especially when I do backgrounds, because it, isn't that the chameleon color? This is not the chameleon color. That is the Ink on 3 Fade Out ink. The other night I was watching Sandy and she had this beautiful Afghan draped across the back of her chair. I commented on it. She said her bestie made it for her. It's gorgeous. Do you have the pattern for that? It was not a pattern. I just made it. And so the pattern was single, double, treble, double, single. All the way. Single, double, treble, double, single. So anyways, back to the no lines. When I do backgrounds, well, yeah, that's so you guys could see on the overhead. Yes, yes. When I do backgrounds, I usually do no lines because then the image fades to the background better. And so it looks like one whole cohesive piece, as opposed to a cartoon image floating above the background. So this piece will most likely end up having a background to it. That was my intent anyways. So the Ink on 3, they have Fade Out ink, and that does actually become chameleon and takes on whatever color you put on top of it. This ink does not. So you either have to cover it or her hair does look salt and pepper right now. She's a finely aged mermaid. It's about to look purple though. But my eyes are getting much too old for the Fade Out ink from Ink on 3. Because if you do not color it right away, it does fade out. And yeah, I can't see it. It goes away on me. I really don't think that my 3D print is working at all. Julie, are you entering the 1,000-member giveaway challenge? Michelle, are you? I'm gonna guilt you all into entering it. We only have 2 entries. You have a really good chance of winning a tumbler. One of the Pine Barn Creations tumblers. Julie, you could add to your collection. You probably have more of them than I do. All right. There we go. Michelle, the ink that you can use for no lines coloring is from Ink on 3, and it's called Fade Out ink. But this is what I used tonight. Memento Desert Sand. This is my favorite ink for no line coloring because it's that soft kind of cookie color, sugar cookie color. So this is what I always use for no line coloring. And if you watch my video from the other day, I used it for this girl as well. So see how the lines kind of go away? So I like the Ink on 3 Fade Out ink, but I will tell you, it fades out, like it goes away. So on my eyes, it's really hard. I can only use that ink during the day. I cannot use it if I'm coloring at night. Okay, so for her hair, I'm going to come up from the bottom of all of these and add this next darker color. I do that for a little extra dimension on them. And notice I'm leaving lots of white space in between. Michelle, it doesn't go away super duper fast. I usually stamp it like 2 or 3 times. But it does, I mean, it does fade out. Like that's the point of it. So it takes on whatever color of ink you put on top of it. So it is really, really great for no lines coloring. It does essentially go away. But for my eyes, I can't do it anymore. I used to be able to. And sometimes I still can during the day if I'm having a good eye day. But, yeah. It's a very nice ink, though. I will say that. The consistency of the ink is great. I'm too old for that anymore. It kills my eyes. So that's why I use this one. But I've always been partial to the Memento inks, so but Florette from Ink on 3 is a wonderful person. The challenge is use any Sweet Sentiment image or any Sweet Sentiment thing. That's the challenge. Use anything from Sweet Sentiment and put it in the album before whatever the date was I put on there. I think I did Saturday at midnight. So this one, I'm going to go from the top of all of these. Except for this really big one. I know, so much pressure. The album. Yes, I made an album. So if you click on, at the top of the group, if you click on media, and then you click on albums, there is an album there for you to place your project from the 1,000 member giveaway. And so it can be any project, and it can be anything from Sweet Sentiment. So a stencil, or a digi, or a stamp set, or paper, or the color cards, any project you make. I really want to see people using their Sweet Sentiment items. Quite frankly, I look out into Facebook land quite often because I like to, reply on people's projects and stuff. And I don't ever see any Sweet Sentiment items. You have a digital, you have stuff from the retreat, Michelle. You have all kinds of stuff. What you talking about, Willis? And so I get kind of jealous that people use all of their other stuff and not sweet sentiment stuff. And so that's the real deal behind it. I should challenge Sandy to make the background. She'd be like, here, mail this to her and be like, here you go. See, Michelle, you can use the sweet sentiment paper and say, hey, I used sweet sentiment paper on this. It can be anything you want. I know you have stuff, Michelle. Okay, so I'm gonna do her eyes now because she's creeping me out with the zombie eyes. Well, there you go, Julie. Slap something on a project. Call it a day. I'm gonna give her green eyes because, I mean, why not, right? So I'm gonna start. This is G09, and I'm just gonna start at the bottom. Normally I do like my super cool eye treatment, you guys know, but her eyes are so tiny. So it's gonna be really hard to do that. Michelle, you crack me up. I'm gonna post my bank statement. You're funny. Oh, good, Michelle. I'm glad that you like it that much. It does make me happy. And we just got a brand new batch of it in, which makes me even more happy. Okay, so this is my multi-liner. This is 0.03, so it's the absolute finest tip. I'm gonna add a pupil, which is gonna make her look really scary for just a moment. I mean, check this out. She's like, ah! But that's okay. Don't you worry, your pretty little head. I'm gonna add eyeliner, and I'm gonna add eyelashes. And on this one, I'm gonna add eyeliner and eyelashes. Yeah? I know, pupil is a funny word. And then I'm gonna grab my Pear Blossom Press pen. I like to tap it just a little bit to get it started. Gonna add a little highlight there in her eyes. And then I'm also gonna add a couple of spots here where the sun would be reflecting off of the scales. And there you go. All right. So now I'm going to color this rock real fast because it's not going to be super difficult for me to color. And we are going to go, I think I'm going to go with the ends. So I'm going to start, right? Come do your makeup. I actually have a lot of people that tell me that my eyeliner is crazy even. They're like, do you use like a stencil or something for your eyeliner? I'm like, no. I use an eyeliner marker. Thank you, Linda Lou. Namesake. I can just hear my printer over there erroring. I know that's what it's doing. I feel it. Thickening up some of these shadows here. Okay, looks like we're good there. Well, right now I'm just printing a Post-it card holder, like Post-it note holder. Oh, you did, Michelle? Yes, I do have a 3D printer. I'm not good at it. This is like the first thing I've printed myself. Usually my son helps me. And this is why, because I obviously don't know how to do it right. Well, Michelle, this one might be for sale. Come to Idaho and grab it. It's just frustrating. There's a very large learning curve to them. And you have to be fairly techie in order to figure it out. Yeah, for sure. Now, see how I've saturated all of this all the way around? And so I've used a lot of this color. Now this highlight, if I just go over it one time, it'll still have that highlight in there. What do you do with yours? Yes, Michelle, you can be techie. I definitely think that you would have a fun time with them. I think that I just don't have the time to invest. It takes time to learn how to do it. And I just don't have that kind of time in my life right now with trying to run Sweet Sentiment and trying to grow. And you can be techno too. So I'm gonna show you too, since I have it sitting right here. So the same technique I used on her tail, I also used on this dinosaur. So the exact same technique, and you can create lots of different things. I personally will not be driving, I will be flying. But then I'm flying to Sandy's house and then we're gonna drive down, yeah. I know, isn't he a cute dino? Cute little Stegosaurus. I'm so cute. I did the Brontosaurus too. That way I just haven't put them on cards yet. So they're here. Rawr. Okay. So now you guys wanted a teal. jellyfish. So we're going to do a teal jellyfish. Let me decide on my colors of teal that I want to do. I want to start with 78. Maybe I'm not going to do a bright teal. Maybe I'm going to do like a soft teal. So 75, 72. I'm kind of thinking of making him go into green. Yes, I only color on my paper, Michelle. I'm looking at my hex chart and trying to decide where I want to go. So this is 78, this is 75, this is 72. And then I think I want to kind of merge over into these greens and make him fade into like a green color. So I'm thinking 82. Because why not, right? G82, G21. You need another murder, death, kill story. Hold on. Let me find markers. G21. And then I'm going to go YG11 because I can. I don't know. What can I tell you? Okay, so we're going to start. And I'm going to make, so I like to make little pleats. And so I'm trying to decide which way I want it to pop out. So I'm going to make the pleats where these indent. I have an interesting story for you from when I was on training. It's kind of gruesome though. How do y'all feel about a gruesome murder, death, kill? Okay, I'm gonna do something a little bit different here. I have the Sepia Tone multi-liners, and this little guy, I'm gonna make his eyes open. Is everybody ready for a gruesome story? Are you guys all down for that? They were nice to me. They were not nice to the other trainee. How about that? So in Northern California, we are deputy coroners. And I never worked patrol. I worked in the 911 center and for the Major Crimes Task Force. I was on the hostage negotiation team. So I was not a patrol person. So this story, I never went inside and actually saw it. It happened around me. But the sergeant recounted it for me, so I knew what happened. So, in Northern California, we were deputy coroners. So that means if there's a dead body, we go out on the dead body, right? Do the coroner's report. So, what had happened was this guy had gotten killed over a drug deal. And he, long story short, he liked to collect samurai swords. And the bad guy came in. They were both kind of bad guys, but whatever. Bad guy came in, asked for his money. Guy didn't have his money. So bad guy took a samurai sword. I'm going to stop my printer. Hold on. Can't see the button. Huh. Well, I said stop print and I clicked on confirm, but I don't know if it's stopping the print. So anyways, bad guy comes in, asks for his money, and this guy doesn't have his money. So his samurai sword that is on the wall, or one of his samurai swords that is on the wall, is then used in his demise. And samurai swords, as you know, are very, very, very sharp. And so he was very cleanly decapitated while sitting on the couch. So, in a decapitation, you guys know the old adage, like running around like a chicken with its head cut off kind of thing. There is a certain amount of nerves that continue to be connected or continue to fire. And so his body, every, 30 to 40 seconds or so, would sit up on the couch without his head. The head would stay on the couch, the body would sit up. Crazy. So, the new guy that was exceedingly squeamish I know, right? The new guy that was exceedingly squeamish and did not know about this was led into the crime scene and told to do the coroner's report, because when you're new, you catch all of that stuff. You catch all of the reports so that you know how to do them. And so they timed it so that when they brought him in, they had the full 45 seconds or so until the guy sat up. And so they made sure that, they were talking to the new guy and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And then the guy sat up without his head on the couch. I know, right? Super creepy. The guy sat up without his head on the couch, and the new guy screamed, and he went running outside, and he locked himself in the patrol car, and he said a lot of very bad words, and was not very happy with anybody, and all of the people on scene thought it was hilarious. But you kind of have to keep a sense of humor when you do stuff I know, so wrong. So wrong. You kind of have to keep a sense of humor when you are a deputy coroner, because you can get really depressed really fast dealing with all the death and destruction. I don't think that people realize cops never see people at their best. We only see people at their worst. It's very rare that we see people at their best. So, playing jokes on one another is very commonplace in the police world. And so this poor trainee. I mean, when you're new, it just happens. So this poor trainee, it took him a while to forgive the guys for that. But they didn't do that to me. They weren't mean like that to me. Yeah, I mean, kind of expected. When you deal with that stuff all the time, it's a little bit expected. So, but yeah, so that was an interesting story. I mean, I was there. I just didn't go inside. They tended to protect me from that kind of stuff. They didn't want me to see that kind of stuff too much. I did investigate some Hells Angels. That was pretty interesting. I guess ultimately was the reason the fire started. You think I would be a good person to be a police officer? Because we found out we were having a child, and having both parents in law enforcement is not conducive to a well-adjusted child. It's kind of how people have jerks for kids. So we moved to Idaho when we found out we were having Evan, so that we could live on a single income. And we did not want to raise our child in California. So yeah, I got to go. My jelly does have a little bit of a Seahawk thing going on, doesn't he? So yeah, I got to go investigate a bunch of the Hells Angels and talk to them, and that was very interesting. I don't know if you guys know, Cheryl. I don't know if they're prevalent in Canada, but Hells Angels are a motorcycle gang. They say that they're just benefactors, but they deal heavily in methamphetamines. They're very, very scary guys. Lots of murder and mayhem. That's kind of a fun little jellyfish, isn't he? Oh, they are big time up there? Yes, my husband does polygraphs. So he's not on patrol anymore. But he still investigates cases. He's still a detective, and he does polygraphs. Oh, they're heavy in London. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna color in his little mouth and his little eyes. So I like to use RV34 for the tongue. I don't know why, it just became my favorite, and I've used it ever since. And then I like to use EO4 or RV95. I think I'll use RV95. Yeah, so many of them are tied to drugs, and yeah. And then I like to use my colorless blender to put a little bit of texture on his tongue. And a little bit of texture on the outsides and in the highlights of his little jelly bubbles here. Just to make him a little bit more transparent looking. Jellies usually have a lot of texture. just so he has a little bit of something in there. And then I'm going to grab my white gel pen and add a little highlight just by dotting it on the paper. Oh my God, he's so cute. And then I'm going to get all fancy smanchy on you guys. This is actually a jelly roll pen. I don't know if you can see that. It's jelly roll. And this is a clear glitter. And I'm going to add glitter down his tentacles. I don't even know if tentacles is the right word, but that's the word we're using tonight. And then so they're not in perfect lines, I like to kind of roll my finger across them to sort of spread out that glitter some. It just makes them very much more glittery. He sure is a cutie. What are you talking about, Julie? You and your typos, you crack me up. I can't tell you how much you make me smile, Julie, with all of the random things that you send me. I know I don't always reply, but I appreciate them. She texts me all these random like TikTok videos and all this stuff that just makes me laugh. And she has a knack for doing it just when I need it most, for some reason. And so I have to tell you, the one the other day, I was absolutely in a very bad place. And you sent it, and it just snapped me out of it. It just made me giggle so hard. I don't even remember which one it was. It was completely irrelevant. But it just made me giggle. And I'm so grateful for you for taking the time to... and for not being all upset that I don't respond. Look at how glittery her tail is now. Oh, so cool. All right, guys. So that's going to do it for tonight. Thanks, Cheryl. So I have both of these that are ready to go for backgrounds. And so we will have to figure out backgrounds for these when I do my next video. So probably Friday. And we'll be doing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But yeah, so we have 2 of these girls done, and now we just need backgrounds. We need to tell their story. So, yeah, I love adding the little eyes to the jellyfish. It just makes me giggle. He doesn't, have eyes. And look at how much it changes him to put the little eyes on him. It's so funny. So please don't forget to join in the fun with the 1,000-member giveaway. Any project that uses Sweet Sentiment supplies would be amazing, and just toss it in there in the album. Don't forget to sign up for the Sweet Sentiment Besties Retreat. That's coming up real fast here. And I think that's everything. Michelle Brownstein, talk to me about 3D printer if you're interested. I think Evan might want to sell this one, so we'll make you a good deal. And I can pack it up and take it to Texas with me. So yeah. Anyways, above and beyond that, I am going to go to bed because I am a tired puppy. And I will see y'all, like I said, probably Friday. And thank you for staying up late with me. It's 10:30 here in Idaho, so way past my bedtime. And Nona's still awake. Thanks for all the hearts. I appreciate it. And I will upload this tomorrow to YouTube so that you guys can refer back to it, Julie, so you have all the color combinations and stuff. Oh, Renska, thank you. I hope you're healing well. I hope your ankles are doing better. Thanks for tonight. Thanks, Michelle. And Michelle, elbow, elbow, wink, wink. I might be working on something for you. Yeah, Cheryl, it's tomorrow for you. So I will see you guys all probably this weekend, and we'll figure out backgrounds for these girls and put them on some cards. So see you guys later. Toodles.